I've got to ask you this, Jurgen. Pochettino's relationship with Pulisic, it does right now, it feels like it's make or break for this cycle. Does it remind you at all of the complex relationship you had with Landon Donovan? Do you see an echo in the two things?
No, I never had a problem with Landon until I told him that he's not going to Brazil. but it was a purely footballing decision because we felt, all the coaches, that his time was kind of over and more talent was there and the better players were going to Brazil. So it was purely out of technical reasons and nothing else. The relationship with players for managers is crucial. I mean, there's no doubt that Maurizio and Christian need to stick really tight together and go through issues and talk it out, having a couple of beers or whatever it takes. It is the relationship for getting a team far in a tournament between the coaching staff and the players needs to work. There's no doubt about it. You know, they need to be comfortable. They need to believe in what we all are doing. They need to have an open word also, saying their own things. You know, but Maurizio is so experienced. Excuse me, he coached big teams, so he knows all that. You know, he took Spurs to a Champions League final. We almost made it, and I think they work it out. They're going to work it out.
You know, Christian's big mistake was not to use the prom excuse for this Gold Cup. It would have been slightly weird if he said, Maurizio, I need to go to the prom. So don't listen to me. But if you had one piece of advice for Pochettino, you've run this team, you've run them through a World Cup cycle, you've worked with America's finest, you've met the challenges, you've overcome them, you've gone on your journey. If you had one piece of advice for him, what would it be?
He doesn't need any piece of advice from other coaches. He coached already on the top level. He knows how to deal with the players. He knows how to kind of deal with different characters. And you have a squad of 26 players going to a World Cup. He knows how to handle them. You know, so people management is the majority of the work for a manager of today. The rest is all done on the field, the tactical approach, the physical pieces to it. But the relationship with your players needs to be good, you know, and I'm sure that, I mean, he has done that in the past and he will do it also here.
But we do talk a lot, not just in the States, about maybe younger players now not doing what you talked about Clint doing, that it does seem that kids who've come through academies don't take games by the scruff of the neck quite as much as they used to. So does that make it more complicated?
Well, you're a child of your environment. You know, whatever your environment is, your family, your friends, your place where you live, your city, you're a child of that in place, you know. And he became the player that he is because he grew up in a certain way and had this fight mentality in him. And so the neighborhood we grow up, you know, will define our future, and the coaches understand that. You know, the coaches dig into that. They try to understand every player where he's coming from. The Marcus Beasley is different, you know, than Clint or Michael Bradley or Jermaine Jones, who came from a very, very tough neighborhood in Frankfurt and grew up there and fought his way through like hell, basically. And so you need to realize, you know, how they think and how they take things.
I mean, you spent the summer with me just shouting at the television saying, somebody step up, grab the game by the scruff of the neck. So, like, how do you understand that, Clint?
What do you mean?
I mean, you've watched this team. You just wanted someone to step up, take people on, you know, show them, just go at it.
Yeah, I mean, there were moments where you saw that, whether it's Tillman, whether it's Diego Luna, Chris Richards, also chipping in with goals, even though that he was a center back, but doing a great job back there. I think it's just doing it more consistently, right? Doing it week in and week out, and that's what we'd like to see from more players. But yeah, like you said, you're a product of your environment, and the fight that you go through in your life is kind of what makes you and drives you forward. Like, you have to figure out, what is your why? What is your motivation for doing this, and how far do you want to take it? Do you get, you know, fooled from just one victory or one accomplishment, or do you keep setting the bar higher and higher? And you have to be someone who keeps setting it higher and higher if you want to do something great.
Amen to all of. Go on.
Just look exhausted.
Well, I've been playing for PSG in 104-degree heat. We're in the final on Sunday. I'm just still regenerating, but I have no doubt we will have victory. One question I do want to ask you both. Jurgen, last question for you. If you've got the power to go back in time and have a do-over, the ability to change one decision that you made on that 2014 journey and make it differently, with hindsight, what would you change and why?
No, I agree absolutely with Clint. We took it to the extreme and came short. That was all right. I wish we would have gone further, but we accepted it.
The only thing that I would change would be Josie didn't get hurt in that first game. He was able to be the number 9, and I was able to play underneath him in a more natural position. I think we would have been a little bit more effective.
Agreed.
That would be it. It was just the Josie issue. You play number 9. You hate playing number 9.
Well, I'm just not your typical number 9. I'm not someone who wants to play with their back to goal. I like to be on the half turn and linking up with people, driving with the ball, giving goals off of a Josie, Obafemi and Martins, or players like that, and create for myself in that way. I'm not someone who wants to sit up there and hold the ball up and let other people come into play. I like to be the person that's in the pockets. That's what I felt most comfortable in that position.
Yeah.
Jurgen, there's nothing...
we thought, Josie did all the preparation. He was top fit, finally shook off all these extra pounds here and there. And he's unbeatable, he's unbeatable. And then he goes down, from muscle injury. Said, no, but things happen.
There was nothing that you would, retrospect, not a substitution, not a change.
No, it is then what it is. You got to deal with it, and you make the best out of it, and you adjust it. And so Clint cannot play his favorite role then. So maybe out of the 100%, he gets in a different position, and he's 98% there, comfortable, kind of in his own way. But he's still scored our goals.
Can I ask you, how often do you guys have memories, if at all, of two? Will you be fishing on the Nacogdoches River and just the ball floating towards you in Manaus will come to you and you'll think about it? Will you be up in the helicopter and you'll think of the ball dropping, spinning, Wando is steaming in, you're like, oh my God, we're gonna do it. Do these memories come to you? Do you live with any of this, as so many people in this room do? Or is it just a chapter that is closed for you both?
I mean, for me, it's when kids ask me questions and you kind of go back in time to those moments and kind of relive them, or they show you something on YouTube and you kind of describe what was going on at the time. But for me, unless it's something brings it up, it's kind of stored in a vault and waiting to talk about when asked upon. But I'm not sitting there mowing the yard or in a deer stand thinking about, you know what I'm saying? The header I scored against Ecuador in the quarterfinals of Copa America.
You mean you're not in a store and pushing your trolley around and saying to people, do you want to talk about the 2010 World Cup?
No, I don't have it too often.
Jurgen, what about for you? Do your footballing memories come back to you, or have you drawn a line and you're just living life in the present and the future?
No, I think the memories come back when you talk to people and they share those memories that they had when they maybe saw you play or coached and afterwards. And when they, no matter if I have traveled to, I coached now South Korea, I went to Asia, or when I traveled to South America, and they say, in Argentina, oh, we saw you in 1990 and you did this to us, and we didn't win, you guys won and that's not fair. And so you share these memories with the people that lived through those moments, then it comes back. But normally I'm not living in the past.
I will say to you guys, both of you, raise a beer to both of you and close with a toast. I think there's a lot of human beings in this room who do think about that ball dropping in that opening Ghana game. Ghana, again, they always do us. And Clint Dempsey within seconds reeling away in wonder. I don't know what went through you. I love when you say everyone was freaking out. You've said it twice and I just love it. When he scored, what did that feel like for you? After years of working on this thing, by the way.
Well, I think that's the joy of, for us fans, for, as coaches on the sideline, because we are not on the field and they make those moments happen that you just, inside of you, you just explode and say, yes, because I think the joy is far more far more deeper when somebody else does it than maybe when you score yourself years before that, you know, because you're working so hard. You want to give them hopefully the right whatever information or the right feeling for make things happen, but it's them making it happen, you know. So when these moments come and then it really happens, it's just fantastic.
Is it joy or relief?
It's joy, pure joy, yeah. And then you share that with the other coaches on the bench, with the physiotherapist, with the equipment manager, and I had a moment like that. We coached Germany in 2006, and the third group stage game was. Or the second was against Poland in Dortmund, 80,000, and it was 0-0 and 0-0 and 0-0. And I just pushed them forward. I said, you gotta score this goal. You know, we're gonna qualify early. And then I made 2 substitutions, and it happened that, you know, these 2 guys, they connected. And in the 94th minute, you know, Oliver Neville scores the goal, 1-0 against Poland. He brought in a kid, 20 years old, Odonkor, from Dortmund, and he ran down the line. He was the fastest on the field. He almost ran out of the stadium because he was so fast. And then it happened, and the whole stadium, like it was in that moment with Ghana, exploded. And we saw then the images afterwards, you know, the television images, how we celebrated on the bench. We always thought, are you actually out of your mind? You know, how you screamed around and freaked out and all that stuff. But I think this is the joy of this game, because you share it. You share it together with everyone. The one is sitting in front of the TV and screaming at the TV, or you on the side.
I agree with Jurgen. I mean, if you're not celebrating like that, you ain't passionate enough about it. There has to be something that it's an emotion that you can't control, right? You feel like you can run through a brick wall. That's what I loved about soccer more than any other sport. The feeling you got when you scored a goal. And especially to do it for your country in big moments, there's no greater feeling. And if you're not getting excited, you know, yelling at the top of your lungs, bringing yourself to tears, then you're just not invested enough in it.
So let's close it out. What did that moment feel like for you? Because I once interviewed Diego Forlan, and he said scoring a goal in a World Cup is like an orgasm, but better.
I mean, I wouldn't say all that. I would say for me, it's like running through a brick wall. For me, it was payback. The coach for believing in me of being captain. For me, it was setting the tone in the World Cup as the captain. And anytime that you could represent your country and get the country believing that you could do something special, that's what I dreamed about as a kid. So for me, it was just living a dream.